Prohm is the modern name of a temple near the city of Siem Reap, Cambodia, approximately 1 kilometer east of Angkor Thom and on the southern edge of the East Baray. It was built in the Bayon style largely in the late 12th century and early 13th century and was originally called Rajavihara. It was founded by the Khmer King Jayavarman VII as a Mahayana Buddhist monastery and center of learning dedicated to his mother. Almost 80,000 people were required to live in or visit the temple, including over 2,700 officials and 615 dancers. The temple is referred to as the Tomb Raider Temple or the Angelina Jolie Temple due to its depiction in the film Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, 2001. The temple was built without mortar and, after it was abandoned, trees took root in the loosened stones. The trees growing out of the ruins and the jungle surroundings have made it one of the most popular temples with visitors to the area. It has been on the UNESCO World Heritage List since 1992. Foundation and expansion. In 1186 AD, Jayavarman VII embarked on a massive program of construction and public works. Rajavihara, Monastery of the King, today known as Prohm, ancestor Brahma, was one of the first temples founded pursuant to that program. The stele commemorating the foundation gives a date of 1186 AD. Jayavarman VII constructed Rajavihara in honor of his family. The temple's main image, representing Prajnaparamita, the personification of wisdom, was modeled on the king's mother. The northern and southern satellite temples in the third enclosure were dedicated to the king's guru, Jayamangalartha, and his elder brother respectively. As such, Prohm formed a complementary pair with the temple monastery of Priya Khan, dedicated in 1191 AD, the main image of which represented the Bodhisattva of compassion Lokesvara and was modeled on the king's father. The temple's stele records that the site was home to more than 12,500 people, including 18 high priests and 615 dancers, with an additional 80,000 inhabitants in the surrounding villages working to provide services and supplies. The stele also notes that the temple amassed considerable riches, including gold, pearls, and silks. Expansions and additions to Prohm continued as late as the rule of Srindravarman at the end of the 15th century. Abandonment and restoration. After the fall of the Khmer Empire in the 15th century, the temple of Prohm was abandoned and neglected for centuries. When the effort to conserve and restore the temples of Angkor began in the early 21st century, the École Française d'Extrême-Orient decided that Prohm would be left largely as it had been found, as a concession to the general taste for the picturesque. According to pioneering Angkor scholar Maurice Glaze, Prohm was singled out because it was one of the most imposing temples, and the one which had best merged with the jungle, but not yet to the point of becoming a part of it. Nevertheless, much work has been done to stabilize the ruins, to permit access, and to maintain this condition of apparent neglect. In 1992, UNESCO inscribed Prohm on the World Heritage List. The conservation and restoration of Prohm is a partnership project of the Archaeological Survey of India and the Apsara, authority for the protection and management of Angkor and the region of Siem Reap. By 2013, The Archaeological Survey of India restored most parts of the temple complex, some of which were being constructed from scratch. Wooden walkways, platforms, and roped railings were put in place around the site to protect the monument from further damages from tourists. In November 2022, a renovation of the Hall of Dancers was completed. The design of Ta Prohm is that of a typical flat Khmer temple, as opposed to a temple pyramid or temple mountain, the inner levels of which are higher than the outer. 5 rectangular enclosing walls surround a central sanctuary. The sanctuary is centered around the stone face of Prajnaparamita, the personification of wisdom, modeled after the king's mother. Like most Khmer temples, Ta Prohm is oriented to the east, so the temple proper is set back to the west along an elongated east-west axis. The outer wall of 1,000 by 650 meters encloses an area of 650,000 square meters that at one time would have been the site of a substantial town, but that is now largely forested. There are entrance gopras at each of the cardinal points, although access today is now only possible from the east and west. In the 13th century, face towers similar to those found at the Bayon were added to the gopras. Some of the face towers have collapsed. At one time, moats could be found inside and outside the fourth enclosure. The presence of 2 moats led some historians to speculate that the 12th/13th remain of Ta Prohm is an expansion of a more ancient Buddhist shrine on the same site. The 3 inner enclosures of the temple proper are galleried, while the corner towers of the first enclosure form a quincunx with the tower of the central sanctuary. This basic plan is complicated for the visitor by the circuitous access necessitated by the temple's partially collapsed state, as well as by the large number of other buildings dotting the site, some of which represent later additions. The most substantial of these other buildings are the libraries in the southeast corners of the first and third enclosures, the satellite temples on the north and south sides of the third enclosure, the Hall of Dancers between the third and fourth eastern gopras, and a house of fire east of the fourth eastern gopra. Representational art. Ta Prohm has not many narrative bas-reliefs, as compared to Angkor Wat or Angkor Thom. At any rate, some depictions of scenes from Buddhist mythology do remain. One badly eroded bas-relief illustrates the great departure of Siddhartha, the future Buddha, from his father's palace. The temple also features stone reliefs of devatas, minor female deities, meditating monks or ascetics, and virapalas or temple guardians. Trees. The trees growing out of the ruins are perhaps the most distinctive feature of Ta Prohm, and have prompted more writers to descriptive excess than any other feature of Angkor. 2 species predominate, but sources disagree on their identification. The larger is either the silk cotton tree, Ceiba pentandra, or Thitpak tetrameles nudiflora, and the smaller is either the strangler fig, Ficus gibosa, or gold apple, Diospyros decandra. Angkor scholar Maurice Glaze observed, on every side, in fantastic overscale, the trunks of the silk cotton trees soar skywards under a shadowy green canopy, their long spreading skirts trailing the ground and their endless roots coiling more like reptiles than plants. Ta Prohm was used as a location in the film Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, 2001. In the film, Lara Croft, played by Angelina Jolie, picked a jasmine flower and then fell through the earth into the temple, with the forthcoming scenes filmed at Pinewood Studios.